Hi, and welcome to the 11th in this series on the BUTs of the Bible, weekly devotions on the great buts of the Bible. And for this week, we turn to John chapter 1 and verse 18. There, Jesus said to his followers, "No one has ever seen God, but God, the one and only, who is at the Father's side, he has made him known." I recently watched Spike Lee's film, The Black Klansman. It's based on a true story of how an African American policeman contacted the head of the Ku Klux Klan in order to uncover a bombing they were planning on civil rights activists. Because he can't see the policeman, the KK leader assumes that he is a fellow white supremacist. Many people make assumptions about God. They imagine how he is and how he acts. Or some people won't believe in God because they can't see him. In the Old Testament, the people of God feared seeing him because God, Yahweh, was so other, so holy, that to see him would mean that you would die. The Bible tells us that we can't see God with our physical eyes, but there is evidence of him all around about us. The Bible tells us that we can see God in and through creation. We can see him through the workings of our conscience. We can see and understand something of him by the fact that he created humanity in his image, in his character and nature. But John 1 and verse 18 tells us that supremely God has revealed himself to us in Jesus Christ, his Son and our Saviour, the one and only who sits at the Father's right side, as John records it in this verse for us. Jesus would go on to say of himself that if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Shirley Sandenberg, the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook, commenting on the lack of visible examples of people of colour in positions of power, said, "We can't become what we can't see." Jesus has made it possible for us to be the sons and daughters of God the Father by seeing him as our Saviour and Lord and following his example. It's not how we look, Jesus tells us, but who we are in him. Hebrews 11 and verse 1 reminds us, "Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see." We're presently living in a time, aren't we, where we've become fearful of what we can't see, a virus. We only see and experience its damaging results. Now, we may not be able to physically see God, and we don't live at the time when Jesus walked this earth. But with the eyes of faith, we can know his grace and experiencing the transforming work of his love, casting out that fear that sometimes grips our hearts and lives. As John Newton put it in his famous hymn, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see." I pray that this week you will see more and more of that amazing grace at work in your lives and circumstances, and indeed in those round about you. God bless you this week. Amen.